For years, there was one way to make a model smarter, make it bigger, more parameters, more training compute. Then a different lever appeared. Do not make the model bigger. Let it think longer at the moment you ask. Give it room to reason step by step, privately, before it commits to an answer. That is a reasoning model. The O-series, DeepSeek R1 and their descendants. If your picture of an LLM is one prompt in, one answer out, this is the update. The key is to completely different kinds of compute. Training compute is spent once, upfront, to bake knowledge into the weights. You pay it before anyone ever uses the model. Test time compute is spent per query. The instant you ask, the model generates a long internal chain of thought. Often thousands of hidden thinking tokens, exploring, checking, backtracking, before it writes a single word of the real answer. And here is the finding that reshaped the field. On hard problems, more thinking can beat more training. A modest model that is allowed to think can outperform a giant model that answers immediately. These models are trained with reinforcement learning so that the thinking is actually productive, not just longer. But there is a twist most people miss. More thinking is not always better. Accuracy climbs with the thinking budget, then the gains shrink, then it plateaus, and then, past some point, it can fall. That decline is real. It is the overthinking regime where the model second guesses answers that were already correct. And the whole time, cost and latency keep climbing. So the knob you tune is a budget, not max it out. Notice the knob itself changed. With old models, you tuned sampling, temperature, and TOPY. With reasoning models, the provider often fixes those. The lever that matters is reasoning effort, low, medium, or high. Low for easy, latency-sensitive queries. High for the genuinely hard ones. Treat it as a cost dial you set per task. Because every thinking token is billed and they are hidden, so a query truly costs far more than the answer length suggests. One more thing that trips people up. Telling a reasoning model to think step by step is usually pointless. It already does internally and better than any prompt could coax. Heavy handwritten reasoning can even get in its way. Save that trick for the cheaper non-reasoning models, where it still helps enormously. For a reasoning model, just state the problem clearly. So when do you reach for one? Hard, multi-step work, competition math, tricky code, real planning and analysis. For fast, autocomplete or high-volume easy classification, a standard model wins on speed and price. The production move is to route, send only the few hard queries to the expensive thinker and let everything else stay cheap.